All right, sounds good. Okay. Yep, 6 o'clock. So good evening. It is now 6 p.m. It is now 6 p.m. And welcome to the Community and Development Committee meeting. I'm the chair, Louis Washington. Thank you for today's meeting is being recorded and will be available on the city's website. Thank you for joining us today. So we'll start out first with the roll call. Looks like we have everyone here. Councilmember Watton, Councilmember Johnson, Director Atecha, City Administrator. Okay. If there's anyone I'm missing, please let me know. So we'll start out, we'll move to the first, item of regular business, and that is to approve the agenda. And we have the agenda before us. Any questions on the agenda?
Maybe just 1 second.
Okay, we'll hold.
For some time.
Take your time, sir.
No, never mind.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Okay, so with that, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, sounds good. Okay, at this time, we will provide some time for our residents for public comment. Is there anyone here that would like to provide public comment? I don't see anyone, so we'll suspend the message for public comment, seeing that there isn't one at this time. Okay, moving along with my cheat sheet here. So we now move to our next agenda item, and that is approval for the minutes dated October 7th, 2024. Can I have a motion to approve the minute meetings?
So moved.
Second.
Sounds good. The agenda.
Oh, the agenda. Oh. We're on the agenda.
We're going to move there now.
Okay. Wait, I thought we already did agenda.
We did the agenda.
I'm
we're
sorry.
On the minutes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I looked at agenda bills and my mind went right to agenda. I'm sorry. So meeting minutes are approved. Now, next item of business is actually going to be us continuing our discussion for the request for qualification review. Yes.
Point of order on the minutes from the last meeting. Just a couple very small things. First of all,
so we're back to the minutes from
the minutes from the last. Yeah, could we correct it so it's not Chair Watton? I think it was meant handout provided by Council Member Watton.
So
CM Watton in this venue.
Yeah. Where do you see?
Oh, it's under discussion items from the minutes.
Yeah, good catch.
And secondly,
Chair Watton. Okay.
Secondly, I abdicated and concurred with the other two.
Yeah, majority committee 2-1.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, we were going to continue the discussion, so really there is no decision. Yeah.
So just change that to proceeding with recommending the RFQ.
Yeah.
If we could do that.
I agree with that.
If that's okay.
Or I would even
I would even stipulate
redlining the entire thing, because at this point, I think we're going to continue the discussion, and today's meeting will be a recommendation.
Okay.
So there really wasn't a recommendation yet.
Okay. Yeah, and we also didn't actually take a vote because you usually don't take votes anyway.
Absolutely. So it'll be a recommendation based on how many of our members want to move forward with it. So I would recommend that we actually strike the entire majority committee 2-1 recommends RFQ.
Yes. Okay.
Good catch. Okay.
If anyone's intrigued, they can go back to the video and watch it on the YouTube channel from the city.
Okay. Move to approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
Minutes approved for our last meeting, October 7th, 2024. Okay. Is that fine, Director? Are you good with that? Okay. So our next item is our discussion item, which is the request for qualification and the request for qualification review. And we'll just kind of pick up with the discussion where we left off. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to Director Arteche to lead us in discussion.
Great. Good evening, council members. You have in your packets today a revised RFQ based on your meeting last time where you had indicated that you wanted some specific changes to the title. You asked for a point system to be installed and more direction or more explanation about items under A through E. So staff went back and embellished the RFQ according to that discussion, and that's what you have before you. So I'd put this back to the committee for further evaluation and modification as you see fit.
Okay. Thank you very much, Director.
Point of order, Chair.
Yes.
Could we just go through and then just take this by section, and then it'll help facilitate getting through this quickly. And by the way, this was well written. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the work that went into this.
You're welcome.
So are you proposing, Councilmember Juan, we just start with the introduction, background, and work our way down?
Yeah, and sounds just get agreement and then move on to the next section.
I'd agree.
Sounds like a plan. You're in agreement with that?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. So it doesn't look like there were changes to the introduction piece of it.
Okay.
Oh, Councilmember Watt, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay. A couple just tweaks to it, if we may. In the brackets, it says affordable housing is considered to be up to 60%, which is perfect, in workforce housing between 80 and 120%. If we could tweak that so that it says with a preference for affordable housing up to 60% and may include workforce housing 80 to 120%. But the idea is that we're not going to decide what's best, but the highest and best use, that's what we're trying to achieve. And then the final part under X, I would say that we mirror what North Bend did and put in 55 years of affordability.
55 plus years.
Or 55 years, just leave it at 55. It could be longer than that, but most funding sources require it to be affordable housing or give preferential low interest loans for longer periods of time.
Okay, for the 55 plus. Councilmember Johnson?
Yeah, so two things on that. First, on the 55, fine. I wonder if we should say 55 or more. Because if they want to have it more than that,
no,
it's great, right? Doesn't have to be exactly 55, does it?
Well, if we're going to mirror the North Bend RFQ, it is 55 plus years. It's kind of is what they have in that.
And it's an RFP.
Or did I say an RFQ? Sorry,
yeah.
An RFP. Just if we're going to mirror their RFP for our RFQ, it does say 55 plus years.
Okay,
in their RFP.
Yeah. Chair, there may have been a hand down here.
Oh.
No. Okay. And then second, Chair.
Please.
So I want to make sure that we don't do something weird like leave a 20% gap. If you make 61%, then no houses for you in Snoqualmie. If you make 79%, no houses for you in Snoqualmie. So in the wording, if it's up to 60% and then workforce housing between 80 and 120, I would hope that it would be implied that the gap between 60 and 80 is also acceptable. I'm not sure if that needs to be worded in any way. I just hope that that would at least be implied.
Clarification on that as well. And that's 60%, actually up to 80% would be considered eligible for multifamily tax exemption. 60% gets to lower housing, more entry-level housing needs. So maybe we need to do a modification of that whole language to just be more inclusive. That we're
maybe it is worth
targeting,
it.
we prefer lower, but if we get a blended proposal, that works too. Chair, on the end,
Yes.
Director Arteche.
Oh, sorry,
But-
Director Arteche.
Yes, Chair, would it be okay for the staff to go back and propose something that is an encouraging statement that will fit the bill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
to blend both of the
Yeah.
affordable housing is up, is considered up to 60% AMI, and preferred workforce housing is considered to be between 80% and 120%. Yes, with the
Prefer
up to 60, and then workforce housing
so the preference would be on the
lower.
affordable housing is up to 60% AMI.
And you want the word preferred in there?
I think so.
Okay, we can add the word preferred.
And then on the years, the 55 plus on the years.
more modification, maybe with a preference of 60 to 80%? Or is that not our intent?
Well, yeah, I'm just kind of mulling over this myself.
But
Sorry.
I just wanted to
Dr.
reconfirm, we're not doing the RFP, it's the RFQ. We could really get into this detail once we bring the selected firms in and work with them.
Okay. Councilmember Johnson.
So perhaps then we could break out those three groups, the under 60%, the 60 to 80, and the 80 to 20, and say with preference toward the lower income brackets.
Okay. City Administrator Chambliss, please.
I did give this an edit, and I'll be honest, it was hard to follow what I was editing because of mission creep.
Mhm.
And so I went back to the prime directive, which is the first sentence on the page that you were looking for workforce housing, and I tweaked that accordingly. So if you're looking for something else, then I think we need to start over. Because what I'm hearing is this, and it's really hard for us to give you what you want when we're not getting clear direction. That's my request, is that we decide what it is that we really want, and then we'll knock it out for you.
Okay. Director Arteche, I like your comment that at any point in time, once we select the developers we're going to work with, we can ask for different levels at that point.
This is just a fact. I mean, it really doesn't do anything more than just, they could go to the state of Washington website and, read all about affordable housing in the state of Washington. So just having this in there is it's nice, but it does get into the
weeds,
the creeping portion.
So, and I guess that's maybe the difference between the RFQ and the RFP. If we were effectively putting out an RFP, we probably would need to be more specific. Whereas the RFQ, we can keep it fairly general and decide who we're going to work with. Is that kind of the thought?
Yes.
Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. So the next portion is the background. Were there any questions on the background piece? I think that's pretty standard from our last version. General scope of work, part 3. I don't think there have been changes to that piece. So that looks the same as last time. And then 4, now we're getting into the evaluation criteria.
Could we come back to 3?
Did you have a question on?
No, we'll come back to it.
Okay. Councilmember, what?
Sorry.
On 3? No.
Can we move on to 4 and then come back to 3?
Okay. Okay. Then I'll go to Councilmember Johnson.
Yeah, I thought this was much clearer than the last time in terms of what we were looking for. I remember in the other version, there was at some point where it kind of listed out what we were looking for, and it was kind of described, and then it came back around later and came back to it. This is just one spot, and it's very well fleshed out. So I really appreciate the work that staff did on this this section.
Absolutely. No, I echo the same opinion. It's very good work, very well laid out. So the expertise is worth 5 points. The financial stability piece is worth 5 points. Okay. Any questions on the evaluation criteria tool? Or any discussion, any further discussion on it? Councilmember One?
My one thing is, how in the world can we do this? I have no idea. But community partnerships or something has got to be embedded in one of these things, because there's been one of the challenges with some developments not having management practices that help to ensure tranquility, shall we say. Okay. I don't know how in the world you measure that, but City Administrator Chambliss does.
Well, one way to put it in there is a final sentence that says a maximum of 5 additional points will be awarded, 1 point per community partner that you bring along with you, or something along those lines. I have done that in the past on applications like this.
I think I understand what you mean by community partnership, but just in case we're on 2 different pages, I would ask for an example.
How do they screen residents? How do they ensure that if they say they're going to have 4 residents, unless there's a new sudden birth where it may change it, but the census to it means that, you know, this unit is able to accommodate 4 people, not 6 people. Okay. And I don't know how you do that.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
No.
Okay. So, City Administrator Chambliss, did you have something to add, sir?
You can't do that. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals got rid of that a long time ago. A community partnership, I was talking about, is like the Health Foundation or, you know,
the food bank or
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where my mind went, but that's why I asked the question.
5 points is too many, maybe 3 points is what you're looking at or whatever. But
okay. Somehow we need to make sure that we keep it safe for the community.
So on that point, you know, I mean, is that a question that we would potentially roll out to the developer, or is that evaluated, or that can no longer be evaluated in that fashion, or how does it work?
I mean, I'm not a lawyer. We can talk to city attorney, but my understanding is that is protected activity that we can't even go anywhere near.
Well, I mean, it is a worthy question that, you know, and again, I don't know what the evaluation process is and how they actually score applicants and the whole process of it. But if a family initially says, okay, we have 3 members, and the day of move-in, 8 people move in, is there any recourse from the development, or that
I think we need to circle back around with the city attorney.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Councilmember Johnson.
All right. Yeah, we can leave that question there. But in terms of the community partners, let's see, I don't know, food banks.
YWCA.
Yeah, YWCA, whatever that sort of thing is to help make this project work. 5 sounds like a lot. I can't remember if you said 5 per, 1 point per, up to a maximum of 5. So 5 per thing, per partner sounds too high. 1 per partner almost sounds too low. I kind of feel like somewhere in the middle, like 2 points per partner. Sounds like a little bit more middle of the road given the numbers that we're looking at here. So that's kind of where I'm landing on that. But I do love that idea because you know, if you've got someone puts in their qualifications and they're not quite where the others are, but they've got a lot of support with them, then all of a sudden it's more like you know, they have a project that has an even better chance than one organization trying to go it alone. And I feel like we should take that into consideration. So I think that was a really good point. And maybe staff could take that back and add another one where it's like 2 points per organization.
Yes, well, we can do that.
Right.
So if I hear you correctly, Councilmember Johnson, it's that this almost encourages developers to go out and kind of seek those relationships with our community partners.
And then on top of that, perhaps just some little qualification about what's meant by having a partner, not just like we got the signatures of 10 organizations that said that they are generally supportive of the fact we're interested in doing this, but just something that'd be of substance for the proposed partnership. I don't know exactly what that would be, but just something more than just we got signatures from 10 different organizations, so now we get 20 points.
I mean, I'll come right back to you, Councilmember Watt. I'm just curious from the staff. I mean, you know, obviously that's something we could put into the criteria tool. Also, I mean, I don't know, is it something that we can evaluate developer by developer?
Yeah, we will rank them when we get the submittals. So it'll be up to the review team to determine if they get the extra 2 points per community partner.
Yeah, I guess my point would be, is that something that we want to leave up to the committee to evaluate, knowing that it's important, or is that something that we should entrench into the RFQ? That would be my question.
Yes.
To the latter?
Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to entrench it in the RFQ and leave it up to the committee.
Yeah, it'll be a new E. We'll just tack it on to the bottom there for 2 points per partner.
Okay.
And maybe they'll partner with YWCA.
They would ask you to set the cap.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Up to 6 points.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, I don't know how many people you could partner with, but
yeah,
that's reasonable.
Sorry,
I know.
That could also perhaps tamp down on the idea of them running around just gathering signatures and racking up 50 points.
That's not.
I know
that's not going to happen. But they might.
Saying.
Yeah, but they may partner with a community bank or community social.
Habitat for Humanity.
Habitat for Humanity, YWCA, what is it, Street Bank, and or you know.
Okay, Councilmember Watt.
Exactly. So it would be a letter of interest. So it may be Wellspring, it may be YMCA, YWCA, it may be, you know, any other organization, but we should ask them for a letter of interest from partner organizations, because it's going to take, it's going to kind of commit that partner organization to say, yeah, this is something that we're definitely interested in supporting. Would that be reasonable, Director Arteche?
I don't think it would be too much trouble for them. It does add a little bit of a lag time, perhaps, for them to try and go get these letters and meet our deadline. We might be able to follow up and substantiate that after they're selected. So, I mean, either way, I think it's okay, but to add too much more burden onto them, because this should be a quick turnaround for them, not something they have to go, you know, work you know, feverishly to assemble.
Okay. Okay. Very good. So we would add that as an F. So we'll move references down to F, and that would be our new E, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. There are no other questions on the evaluation criteria tool. We'll move into submission requirements. Councilman Juan, did you have a question on a general scope of work? I thought you had a question you wanted to.
Yeah, let's come back to that as
You want to
very
that
last.
Okay.
And then
okay,
just make
enough.
sure everything.
So we're down at number 5, the submission requirements. What the packet must include, what the submission must include. So it looks like initially they're not required to respond to the evaluation criteria tool. So when is it in the process that they actually start to respond to that piece of it?
So they will email in their packet
Mm-hmm.
with their response to the evaluation criteria. So they will use the explanations in A through E and provide documentation sufficient for the team to review and score.
Okay.
So if we get an audit or something like that for, you know, financial stability, or an accurate balance sheet, we'll know that we could probably give them the full 5 points.
Okay, so they are required, responses to the evaluation criteria tool. So they are required to respond to it in the initial submission.
Yeah, we were gonna look for their cover letter, their firm profile, which they've already got packaged up. And then the only thing they have to get really busy with is their evaluation criteria. And so they'll run around and have someone gather up, you know, this information, and they'll have to get somewhat creative because they're gonna, you know, provide us something in writing on their approach and, you know, something in writing about their expertise and financial stability. The probably already have 3 references. I mean, this should be a quick turnaround for them.
Okay.
I mean, that's the whole name of the game. Turn it around quickly, get us something that we can score, and let's get them in the door and interview them.
Okay. So then they must have the responses. So the cover letter, the firm profile, the responses to the evaluation criteria on that, whatever we set out for that date in November, they have to have the complete packet into us by
They
then.
have to have A through now F included in their submittal packet.
And if they don't, then they're out of contention. They're not considered.
Yeah, but they know what they're doing. They're not going to do that. If they're serious, they're going to read this with a fine-tooth comb and make sure they know every little thing. And if they don't know, they're going to go down to item 8 and join the Q&A.
Okay. 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 So moving right along to submission instructions. What's our deadline? Yes, sir.
I would ask that we get the final draft and then run it through legal first.
Okay.
So I think it's a little premature to set the deadline tonight.
Okay. Councilmember Juan.
My preference would be to give enough time for all that to happen. So we'd be looking at maybe like December, mid-December, more realistic. And then that would mean the virtual Zoom meeting would be in advance of that.
I think that's a more realistic timeline. Okay. I mean, we'll get it through, but it's got to go through legal.
And a final determination by X date, which could be January 30th or something like that.
Correct.
Okay. And I would put it in the RFQ so that they know when to expect a decision by. And probably in between is interviews with finalists
I would recommend that we don't put a final date in. What if we grab, the top 3 candidates that we think are best and, we want to go back out to the pool and, maybe grab someone else. We don't want to throw everyone to the wayside without having locked somebody in.
Sorry, I just had a couple of quick questions. I was listening to Councilmember Watt, and I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. So let's just, if we were to put a deadline date out there, sometime in mid-December, the thought is the Zoom meeting would take place before the deadline?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why is that?
Because if they have questions and they don't know how to respond to item D, financial stability, they could go to the Zoom meeting and say, hey, Emily, I really don't know what you want from us on this. Would this be sufficient? Would that be sufficient? And they'd say, yeah, or no.
Okay,
or,
so, and I guess that's just my confusion. It would be a general meeting that all applicants would participate in a Q&A for all applicants, not just per applicant, a general meeting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they could submit their questions in advance. I think it says, hey, submit your questions and then we'll hold the Zoom meeting to answer questions. And
kind of like a town hall, if you will.
Well, I would call it just a Q&A.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty basic and maybe a half hour.
Okay.
And it wouldn't involve a lot of people.
Okay. Councilmember Johnson.
So then I was just thinking about, there is a particular lot that we were looking at. I don't think that is ever described here in any detail or referenced. Is that intentional, or should that be in there somewhere, like under the background?
I mean, my initial thought, and I want, input from the staff. My initial thought is that's the difference between the RFQ and the RFP.
Okay.
But I don't want to speak out of turn here, but that was kind of my thought. If we did the RFP, we would kind of outline the property and everything that goes with it, but we're simply asking for an RFQ. Is that correct?
I would expect the property to be as part of this package along with any preliminary studies. And I mean, we should put all the information in there that they need to be successful.
Okay.
We shouldn't withhold anything.
Okay. Councilmember Johnson.
Yeah, because what I imagine is if someone's just saying, oh, well, they're interested in some perfectly flat land that doesn't have any trees on it and has all the hookups. Yeah. There's already a parking lot there. Perfect. Versus the lot that is there, which doesn't have some or all of those things. I think that it'd just be good to have that up front. So should that be something that is as an attachment that's referenced here, or should it be like in the body of this document here?
Yes.
Yes to both. Okay. So maybe in the background, it could say, look at these attachments for these things.
Or we could have a website for them,
Oh, okay.
link to it.
Okay. I'll let staff then kind of deliberate on that aspect and come back and take a look.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, would that come after the evaluation tool before the submission requirements, or ideally where would you put that?
First paragraph.
Yeah, I'd say toward the beginning.
Okay. So in the introduction, okay. Councilmember Juan, I'm sorry.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, so 8 is the questions and additional information. We talked about the Zoom meeting, and 9 is disclaimers. Councilmember Watt.
I'd like to come back to 3.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
So 3, I'm just thinking there needs to be a little more language, general scope of work to include a general description of development services, management services. Is that the intent of what we're asking in 3?
Councilmember Johnson.
The way I interpreted it was this is what we are asking them to do if they were selected. Not something they're supposed to provide right now, but like if selected, these are the things you'd be able to do. That was my interpretation.
Is that the staff want to weigh in on it?
Want to say anything? Yeah, exactly what Councilmember Johnson said. Yeah, these would be things that we would expect to be part of a selected firm, consultant firm team that they would be able to do. We would write a scope of work and we'd come up with a budget that would involve site assessment, design, construction management, and then the second part would be, you know, the maintenance, the property management services.
Okay. Councilmember Johnson.
That could be a good example of where someone brings in a partner to be there to do the management services. They're saying, yeah, we don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We do the development stuff, but we've got someone who's interested in managing the property.
Yep. I agree. Councilmember Watt.
So back to making this an RFQ, please describe the following items and how you would address that. Is that what we're looking for in the RFQ? I'm just trying to understand that part.
I'm sorry, City Administrator Chambliss.
Thanks for the promotion. No, thanks. This is what we are hiring them to provide for us. So this is what they need to be able to provide to the city. This is a very general scope of work. A little bit of everything's thrown in there. So we have some flexibility, but if you would like descriptions of each item, that can be provided also. But the people that provide these services understand that, and that's why we abbreviate in this section.
This is shorthand.
Correct.
Got
it. It's jargon.
Okay.
Nomenclature. I mean, would there be any benefit at all to, you know, for the RFQ to label everything out, City Administrator?
It's just personal preference. We can do whatever you would like us to do.
I mean, I'm fine with the way it is. So. What are your, sorry. What are your thoughts?
I think I'm okay with the way that it is. I think that through the evaluation criteria, which is the thing that they're giving us, we would be able to tell, we collectively, not us, we would be able to tell if they could do those things or not, with some reasonable expectation.
So the question is this something that we want to see before moving this to the council, the broader council, the general council? Is this something we'd want to see the modifications on first? Or are we satisfied with, you know, some of the direction we've provided with the staff? And are we comfortable moving this to the council? Councilmember Rod.
I'm comfortable with whatever Councilmember Johnson wants to do. Whoa.
It's a big responsibility, Councilmember Johnson.
I appreciate the dictatorial power, and I see why, because I am like, it's right on the edge to me of like where I'd want to see it again versus not. Here's one possibility. Does staff think that they could turn this around in a week to get it to the next council meeting?
So the packet material would be due on Thursday for the 28th. And it's currently not slated to go, but that being said, the these changes are fairly minor, and if I coordinated with the city clerk, we might be able to get this onto the agenda by then. Certainly with the support of the city administrator, we might be able to get it on the council agenda for the 28th.
What are your thoughts, Councilmember Jones?
So, sounds like it'd be tight. In a worst case scenario, comes to council, council says, you know, this just doesn't look like it was quite ready for prime time. How about committee takes another crank at it? We might be able to take a look at it too at that time and be like, yeah, I think we just need another week. And in a best case scenario, goes to council and you know, we don't see any of those kinds of problems. Council says, yeah, this looks about right. Then we can move it on. And in a worst case scenario, it gets hauled up for an extra week, which would be the same thing as us not having forwarded it to council in the first place.
What are your thoughts?
I'd actually like to retract that last statement that I made, just because we would need to circulate this to the city attorney.
Good point.
And, you know, the time between now and Thursday is too tight to allow for outside council review.
That's good.
So
for
that being said,
yeah.
it really does make more sense to maybe bring it back on the 11th, or actually the 12th, because the 11th is a holiday.
Yeah, so it's sort of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
So for our next community development committee meeting, right? Okay.
That close.
Yep.
That close.
Almost.
And I mean, I would say that this is something that we've, you know, worked on for some time here, and before bringing it to council, like I really would like to, you know, give it our best effort and make sure that all the details are ironed out. We have a good working document for the council.
Yeah, I think that's for the best.
Yeah.
It's also a heavy council agenda with the utility fee presentation in it. And
for the next coming. So probably again, another reason why we want to probably have it, you know, bring it back to our next committee meeting and then move it forward to probably the last council meeting of November. Is that correct? Okay. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Yeah. Okay.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. Looking forward to seeing that finished work product on our first community development meeting was it the 12th or the 11th? 12th.
The 4th?
Is it the 4th?
Yeah, we'll be back on the 4th.
Okay. It is
the
4th.
So
then the idea is that it would go to the council meeting
on the 12th.
On the 11th or the 25th?
On the 11th.
On the 11th. Okay. Okay.
Wait, isn't that really the...
Or the 12th.
12th.
Yeah, it's really the 12th. Yeah.
Oh, because of the Veterans holiday. Okay. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for all your hard work on that. Thank you so much, Director and City Administrator. Thank you so much. Okay, if there's no further business to come before the committee, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned at 6:43.
Thank you.